voices on this unfolding story. Obviously, first here on India Today, Sushil, Kiran, and also welcoming onto our coverage Twisha Pal, who's been associated with Shah Rukh Khan for a very, very long time. She's a very well-known art designer and set designer. Twisha, welcome. Thank you for being with us. The story in many ways sort of ends today with bail finally being granted to Shah Rukh Khan's son, Aryan Khan. Your first reactions, what did you think when bail was finally granted today?
It's like a personal victory. It is just something that I don't think anybody from the fraternity is not rejoicing today. It's just the only first thing that comes to mind is he was being made a scapegoat, because obviously the power, the position, and the influence that comes with the person, it's being misused. And we've heard of a lot of cases in the past where people have been granted bail much sooner, much sooner, and have not had to wait for 3 long weeks for bail. Well, all we can say is better late than never. Yes, definitely. But there was a big price to pay for that.
Twisha, we saw Shah Rukh once when he visited Aryan at the Arthur Road jail. Beyond that, nobody saw Shah Rukh or Gauri. How did they cope for the last 26 days? And it's been 3 weeks. Let me just remind everyone, 3 weeks that Aryan has been in Arthur Road jail. How did Shah Rukh and Gauri cope?
How do you think any parents would cope? And from what I have seen in the past of how involved they've been as parents, and even though Shah Rukh was is such a big star, even at the peak of his career years ago, he was thoroughly involved with his children. He knew what they were doing day in and day out. He was in tune with their education, with their daily activities. I mean, there was no neglect ever because he was so busy, or he was this huge celebrity who didn't have any time on hand, and hence his children didn't get the best of him or his mum or Gauri. But that's not the case. I have seen this personally of how involved Shah Rukh has been with the kids. So for anybody, to see your child go through this, it's traumatic. And
tell us, Twisha, because the reason I want to ask you these questions is because you've seen these. You've actually seen these things from up close. Tell us about the Shah Rukh and Aryan relationship. You're right. Any parent would be able to empathize with what the kind of emotions they must be going through now, especially after all these days. Tell us about Aryan's relationship with his parents.
I can't really comment on the recent past, but from what I have seen when Aryan was little, was that Shah Rukh is an amazing dad. I don't think there's anybody who would, differ on my opinion on saying this, that Shah Rukh Khan is, I think, one of the best dads of the industry. And he really made sure he was always there for his kids. And he shared an amazing relationship with, back then, with Aryan and Sohana, and I'm sure with Edram now as well. But they had an amazing bond. I'm sure they still do, but from what I've seen back then, it was amazing. There was no holding back. They were like friends. So this is something which is a lot of fingers are being raised at the kind of upbringing a child has, and why would the child do this. This is nothing to do.